A clear indicator here is that the warmongers from Europe and from Britain are constantly trying to obstruct this process, constantly trying to interfere with it. And the more such attempts occur, the more we clearly see that, without a doubt, there is progress and a good positive movement forward is indeed underway.
Russia is signaling a shift in tone on Ukraine, claiming progress in peace negotiations as high-stakes talks loom in Abu Dhabi. President Vladimir Putin's envoy, Kirill Dmitriev, says there is positive movement forward as delegations from Russia, Ukraine, and the United States prepare for fresh discussions aimed at ending Europe's deadliest war since World War II. Dmitriev, a key figure in U.S.-mediated negotiations, told reporters that momentum is building despite what he described as constant interference from Europe and Britain, accusing so-called warmongers of trying to derail the process. He insisted that the more outside pressure is applied, the clearer it becomes that negotiations are advancing, framing the talks as resilient and increasingly productive. According to Dmitriev, active efforts are now underway to restore strained relations with Washington, including cooperation through a U.S.-Russia economic working group, a signal that diplomacy may extend beyond the battlefield.
Hello, Kirill. Please tell me, how are the meetings in Abu Dhabi?
Well, as you know, in conjunction with President Trump's administration, active work is underway to restore Russia-US relations in the economic sphere, including within the framework of the Russian-American Group for Economic Cooperation. And we also met today, and these meetings are progressing positively.
Mr. Kirill, any progress on peace talks?
A clear indicator here is that the warmongers from Europe and from Britain are constantly trying to obstruct this process, constantly trying to interfere with it. And the more such attempts occur, the more we clearly see that, without a doubt, there is progress and a good positive movement forward is indeed underway.
But even as Moscow speaks of progress, its message remains uncompromising. Russian officials have made it clear that Ukraine must concede key demands or face a prolonged conflict, underscoring the stark reality behind the diplomatic language.
Russia is turning up the pressure, even as peace talks begin. As negotiations open in Abu Dhabi, Moscow is making one thing brutally clear: Ukraine must give in or the war will go on. The US-mediated talks mark the latest attempt to halt a conflict that began with Russia's invasion of Ukraine in February 2022, a war that has become Europe's deadliest since World War II. And now, as diplomats gather in the United Arab Emirates, the Kremlin is issuing an ultimatum.
Russia is continuing its special military operation. The doors for a peaceful resolution remain open, and Russia maintains its readiness for dialogue. Our position is absolutely clear. It is thoroughly understood by the Kyiv regime and by the American negotiators who are providing their good offices for the conduct of these trilateral negotiations, and to whom we are grateful for their efforts. However, as of yet, the appropriate decision has not been adopted by the Kyiv regime. The special military operation continues. Our armed forces are striking those specific targets which they deem to be directly associated with the military complex of the Kyiv regime, and the special operation is continuing.
Those words come after a massive Russian drone and missile barrage striking Ukraine's energy grid, knocking out power and heating, and leaving civilians in freezing temperatures. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says the attacks prove Moscow has not changed course and does not take diplomacy seriously. The negotiating team, he warns, will adjust accordingly.
It was a massive strike, a record for ballistic attacks. We saw 28 cruise missiles plus another 43 missiles of various types, all of which follow a ballistic trajectory. These can only be shot down with systems like the Patriot. It's a very complex defense. Some of the missiles were successfully intercepted, but not all. Unfortunately, there were direct hits on energy infrastructure. Additionally, Russian forces launched another 450 drones. A substantial number of these were Shahed-type drones. The most difficult conditions are observed following the strikes in Kiev, the Kiev region, Kharkiv, and its broader area, particularly in the city of Lozova and throughout the regions of central Ukraine. This primarily concerns the Dnipropetrovsk region, also the Vinnytsia region, and a part of the Chernivtsi region. There were strikes throughout the day, and now in the evening, there are strikes once again. All our necessary forces are engaged everywhere for recovery efforts. It's crucial that government officials provide maximum aid to regional and local authorities with equipment and reserves. Each local leader must be quick enough. There's simply no time to wait. We must be maximally active, especially with our partners. All partners who are able to provide support packages must be provided with all the necessary information. And today, Mark Rutte, the Secretary General of NATO, visited Ukraine. He also, among other things, visited the thermal power plant, which was destroyed by missiles. We agreed that Mark will help us so that leaders know what is happening and that Ukraine needs to be supported right now. This applies in particular to missiles for air defense and missiles for Patriot systems, because we can clearly see the tactics that the Russians have chosen. They are not sparing their means of destruction. New contributions from our partners are urgently needed for the Pearl program, which allows us to purchase weapons from America. Mark and I agreed on which countries should react and can help us fastest. We are awaiting a response from the United States of America to the Russian strikes. It was America's specific proposal during a time of diplomacy and such cold winter weather to cease strikes on energy infrastructure. It was a personal request from the President of the United States. We see that Russia responded to this request with a record number of ballistic missiles. Not even 4 full days have passed since the week Russia was asked to observe. This speaks volumes about everything else Russia promises or might still promise. If their word holds no weight right now, what can we possibly expect from them going forward? They were lying even before this war began. Russia initiated this full-scale war, attempting to deceive absolutely everyone, all those around, regarding its true intentions and about Ukraine. And now, even in such minor details, in such agreements with America, we see Russian deception once again. They are incorrigible. Moscow wants to use the cold. As they can't conquer us, Ukraine, with their assaults. Russia's bet on war must receive the world's response. The US Congress has long been working on a new sanctions bill. It's important that it moves forward.
But US President Donald Trump strikes a different tone, saying Vladimir Putin kept his word by avoiding Kyiv and key energy targets for a week.
Yesterday you were talking about how Vladimir Putin had agreed to a pause during the cold weather. Overnight those attacks have started up again.
I know. It was Sunday to Sunday, and it opened up, and he hit him hard last night. No, he agreed. He kept his word on that. It's a lot. 1 week is, we'll take anything because it's really, really cold over there. But it was on Sunday, and he went from Sunday to Sunday.
Are you disappointed he didn't go further? Or go
I would like him to. I want him to end the war. I spoke to him. I want him to end the war.
Still, the pause did not last. At the heart of the talks is land, and Russia's demands are sweeping. Moscow wants Ukraine to pull its troops out of large parts of the Donbass, including heavily fortified cities rich in natural resources. It also wants international recognition that territory seized during the invasion now belong to Russia. Kyiv flatly rejects that. Ukraine says the conflict should be frozen along current front lines and warns that surrendering land would only invite another invasion. Russia currently occupies about 20% of Ukraine. Even at its current pace, analysts say it would take Moscow another 18 months to fully seize Donetsk, and the toughest battles still lie ahead.
What are the main topics that will be discussed, and will the Russian delegation's composition remain unchanged?
If you're referring to the security working group's meeting, which begins tomorrow and runs through Thursday, it will be the same delegation as last time. Yes, it will be headed by Kostyukov.
The talks bring together seasoned negotiators, Ukraine's Rustem Umerov, praised for diplomatic wonders, and Russia's Igor Kostyukov, a sanctioned military intelligence chief. Washington has sent heavy hitters too, Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner, trying once again to broker a deal. But on the battlefield, the war shows no sign of slowing. Russian strikes have killed civilians in Zaporizhia and Dnipropetrovsk, including teenagers, underscoring the human cost of every passing day. For many Ukrainians, hope is fading. As talks continue behind closed doors in Abu Dhabi, Ukraine faces a stark choice: resist, concede, or brace for a war that refuses to end.